Hey, welcome back to Enjoy Spoonful. Do you like wine? Do you like talking about it? Would you like to tell some cool things during your next wine tasting? Then stick around. We will be covering one of the most interesting events in the wine history, in my opinion, called the Judgment of Paris. So, see you after the intro. Before I start this episode, I would like to thank my dear friend Frank for letting me use his space. He's the owner of the wine club called The Library, which has almost 2,000 members. So if you live in Amsterdam, you're new here or you lived here for a while, you want to meet some cool new people, go to some cool events, and taste some great wine, check his Facebook page down below. Now let's get back to the episode. Welcome back. The wine world is vast and complex, as it is delicious, by the way. If you decide to dive into it, you'll see how many disciplines are mashed together. Geography, chemistry, agriculture, and etc. Oh, history as well, by the way. This world has always fascinated me, especially since I was a kid and listening to my parents with their friends at the dinner table talking about wines from Burgundy, from Bordeaux, from Champagne, even from Crimea. So when I got older and I started drinking wine, I started appreciating it even more. The world that is so vast and complex, there has to be some good stories to tell. And today we'll cover one, called the Judgment of Paris. Nope, not the one that caused Troy to fall, but I'm talking about the blind tasting that happened in France, in Paris, in 1976. More specifically, a blind tasting that put French and American wines together. If you want to know the outcome, stick till the end. Back in the days, French were considered the best when it comes to wines. No one could even think of it that they could be beaten not only by other European winemakers, but by the wines from the New World. And when it comes to US, don't forget that in the last century they had a little thing called the Prohibition era, which crippled the wine industry back in US. So back in the 1970s, in California they only had 300 wineries. Today, it's over 3,700 wineries present in California. But now let's get back to the main story, to the wine tasting itself. So the catalysts of this wine tasting were two people, Steven Spurrier, an English wine merchant living in Paris, and his partner of American origins called Patricia Gallagher. They had a wine shop called Le Cave de la Madeleine in Paris, and in 1973 they also opened l'Académie du Vin, which has now branches all over the world, which is a wine school. So, the idea of the tasting came from Patricia Gallagher. She proposed to have the tasting to mark the bicentennial of American Revolution. So back in 1975, she went back home for a holiday to US, and Spurrier asked her to go and taste some American wines in California, so they could know which wines they can select for that tasting. She came back praising them. So what he did, he took her notes and went there, back to US, back to California, and did a selection there. Back in the days, American winemakers were trying to imitate French wines, and specifically Bordeaux and Burgundy. So he chose the wines that could match those, and back in France, he chose the best wines from Burgundy and Bordeaux regions, respectively. So let me put the names of the wines. So here's the American wines, and here are the French wines. If you know some wines, you might see that those names ring a bell. For example, for Burgundy wines, 3 were Grand Cru, and for Bordeaux wines, some were Grand Cru and Premier Cru. I have explanation of what it is below here. But next was also selection of judges. Spurrier went all in, and he chose crème de la crème of a wine society in France. And as I said before, it's a blind tasting. They did it in order to make judges less prejudiced and to make tasting more fair. And now let's get to the most interesting part of the story, the results. Let's just say no one expected the outcome of this tasting be the way it came out. Not the wineries, not US, not the judges, and especially not France. Out of top 4 whites, 3 were Americans, and the top 1 was Chateau Montelena Chardonnay. For red wines, Stag's Leap Cabernet Sauvignon beat one of the best houses of France. So French could not let it go. So throughout the year they did multiple wine tastings, and they even did a 30-year anniversary judgment of Paris, again organized by Spurrier in 2006. But even then, American wines came on top. This tasting had dramatic changes for the wine world. It meant that not only France can make great wines, but there are other terroirs that exist that can create great product. So today, France has to compete on shelves with wines from Argentina, Australia, New Zealand, Crimea, you name it. For us as consumers, this is great news. We can have more variety of great wines, and we can always try something new. So this concludes this episode. Thanks for watching it. I hope that you enjoyed it. Next week I'll be having my first cooking video, so tune in next Thursday. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.